Well, you're very welcome to the Boxing Review Show here on Boxing Social, a weekly show where we're going to review all the boxing action. No one else has thought of this, Ant. We are the first.
Nope. The first there, like, ideas like this, you've got to get in fast, and I'm glad that's what me and you have done.
We can reinvent
saw
the
an
wheel.
opening. Wow, bang, we're in.
So what we're going to do, we're going to do what it says on the tin, really. We're going to review all the weekend's big fights and all the rest of it. We're going to get your expert eye on this. We're going to find out what you've been up to, because each week is a bit of a, fairly interesting, chaotic week as far as you're concerned, and with your life, everything that's going on. So we're always going to find out about that. Might veer off at tangents, but the crux of the matter is getting really into the business of the fights, and then a couple of features, some little light bits and pieces as well that we can look forward to, and special guests. And we've got a very, very special guest this week. We're going to talk to a little bit later on.
Tell me about him.
It's you, actually, for the first one, because this is the very first one. So we're gonna find out a bit. For those that don't know what you've been up to since
retiring,
you hung up the gloves. We're gonna just give them a little bit of a flavour of what your life is like at the minute. But without further ado, excuse me, Anthony $1 Million Crolla, the former WBA champion of the world. The weekend, before we get into it, overall, a great success story from your point of view, the boxing, and let's just get rid of the elephant in the room, the Champions League. I know you're a big Man United fan, you love your football, so...
I don't want to sound bitter.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for the city of Manchester to have the 2 treble winners.
This is some positive spin now that you're actually talking about having 2 treble winners from Manchester now. You weren't saying that on Friday, were you?
From the greatest city in the world.
Okay.
Some people are saying it's tainted. That's up to them. Everyone's entitled to their own view, but it was tough to take. But I'm happy for my blue mates, honestly.
Okay. Well, there we have it. So this is a brand new podcast that's starting every single week. It is called the Boxing Review Show on Boxing. Go then. This is the breakdown of what we were enjoying over the weekend, because we've moved on from the football, Anthony, because I think that the highlight, it's fair to say, in terms of the standout fight, was Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Madison Square Garden. Not the big room at Madison Square Garden, but 5,600 people in there. Nice, tightly packed, good atmosphere. Josh Taylor unbeaten. Teofimo Lopez just a one blip against George Cambosis. And I mean, firstly, did the whole thing live up to what you were expecting?
It did. I thought it was a very good fight, and I thought we saw on Saturday night was a very special performance from a special fighter. Listen, people have their opinions on Teofimo Lopez, but you do not win a Ring Magazine belt at 2 weights if you're not a special fighter, an elite fighter, and that's what he is. And I think some people was he bluffing? Was he not? Because some of the things he was saying throughout fight week was worrying, and there's a lot of people in boxing media. In sports,
about the state of his head.
He should absolutely not be fighting, and that's how they seen it. And you could understand where they was coming from, but the performance he put in against another elite fighter in Josh Taylor, and what I'll say about Josh Taylor there, I thought straight away that looked like a different Josh Taylor on the scales to the one we seen against Jack Catterall. And during the fight, I thought Josh done some really good things.
First 3 rounds particularly.
In particular, he started fast and he had moments throughout, but I just thought Teofimo Lopez, he was brilliant. I just thought it was a brilliant performance. And people will say, we'll say in the game of football, a big game player is, he's maybe took his eye off the ball on a few of fights that he's been expected to win well. But he's delivered in the 2 most important fights of his career, and obviously winning the world title as well, and he's delivered in a big way. And on Saturday night, it was no different. So
you're addressing the Lomachenko fight, obviously, which really kind of captured the public's imagination when he was undisputed at lightweight. Since stepped up, looked good at the weight.
He looked fantastic at the weight, and I don't want to take credit away from George Cambosis, although what I'm about to say probably is doing. That night, I mean, he fought with so much heart and determination, and there's a lot of mind games before it, he was saying, but
we overlooked him as well, let's face it.
Without a doubt, Teofimo Lopez and possibly mainly down to his coach, his father, overlooked George Kambosos. And what he did, he thought he was just going to show up. And he went in with the attitude, what he was saying in the press conference was, this won't last one round. He was huge, absolutely huge at the weight. That looked like it took some out of him. And it allowed George Kambosos to come in and, listen, rightfully so, take all the marbles from him.
Yeah, so in the fight anyway on Saturday,
yeah,
I mean, Lopez, the power shots were coming from him, really,
yeah.
weren't they? And you always felt that as much as Josh was always competitive,
he was just a step ahead, wasn't
he? And he was rattled a few times. You could see that. He was buzzed a few times.
All the eye-catching stuff almost come from Teofimo Lopez. Yeah. And he did, you know what, I was surprised how strong he looked in there. Yeah. And I actually met him in San Antonio when Callum Smith fought Canelo. I met him in the bubble, and one thing I'll say is
that you spent the whole week on the beer. You mean? Is that what you were going to say?
That wasn't what I was going to say, but that did also happen because it was locked down and we was in a bubble, and I'm making excuses here. But however, Teofimo Lopez coming to the bubble, and I'll be honest, I genuinely got him wrong. You know what you see on social media and stuff, and he was a great lad. He come over, I was talking to him. And I think one person that didn't get wrong, what you see on social media is what you get, is his father. Like, he's fat. Listen, I think you've probably seen my behaviour on alcohol isn't always the best, which a lot of people, I'm good enough to admit. But yeah, his dad's behaviour is pretty bad. Really bad. Really bad, to be fair.
But you like Teo. Teo was a decent guy.
Teofimo Lopez was a great lad. He come over and we was chatting for a good while and all the lads. And I think one thing I'll say about him was, and I've seen it before, like, you know, when just someone's a natural athlete, and I think this comes into the fights, which I'm sort of beating around the bush where I'm going to. You could see just how athletic he was at times when he was walking Josh Taylor back, walking him down, and he'd spring up with shots, shooting the shots up.
Yeah, there was a particular eye-catching left hand.
There was, the left hand went, and he sort of, it was unorthodox, and he's very unorthodox, but you can see it, and then he starts doing it was a little bit Nas-like, it really was. And what I'll say is, I remember that night, and I remember seeing it in the bubble with Lomachenko. Someone was kicking an American football. He was catching that, and it looked like it was a pro NFL player. You've seen him jumping on apparatus, like swinging around, just up. You've seen him. And in the bubble, there was a woman, I think she worked for ESPN. I think she was a bit of a salsa dancer. And she was like getting a lot of the lads up who was boxers up there, and some was better than others. Thankfully, I didn't get up, and not that I'm scared to get up and make a show of myself, but I really am. I ever saw the In-Betweeners. Yeah. I'm probably a bit like Will. I'm a bit like Will. I've got similar dance moves to him. So all the lads are getting up. Some boxers are better than others and blah, blah, blah. She got Teofimo Lopez up. He just looked like a professional salsa dancer. And I don't know whether he'd done out before but you get the feeling whatever sport, whatever he chose to do, he'd be good at. I really just a natural athlete, and I just believe. I remember speaking to him that night, and I thought, "There's no way on this earth he's ever going to make lightweight again." He did, and I think it took its toll. But he's huge, And I just think on Saturday night he fought another elite fighter, but he was just a step ahead with the way he judged the distance. The biggest, nearly all the eye-catching stuff was coming from Teofimo Lopez. He looked so much stronger than he did in his fight with Campos, even with Lomachenko, because I think what he did with Lomachenko, he used his size advantage perfectly, got, tactically right. And he's now saying, he's talking about, listen, and I do believe mentally, he's a bit unstable. It's just, unless it's just a massive bluff, he's now saying he's retired. Whether he has, whether he hasn't, we'll wait to see. But I really hope not, because there's some absolute
there's not a chance
fights out there for him. No, I don't believe
not a chance.
Whether he's putting himself
25 years of age, he's had a few issues outside of the ring as well.
Yeah, there's no denying he has major issues outside the ring. I think some of them are well documented. I think I think you sort of seen a bit off camera as well with him and Josh Taylor, and he's not this person who.
No, well, obviously there was nonsense about him wanting to kill someone in the ring, all that rubbish.
That's a horrendous thing to say.
It is, and he should be penalised for that. He absolutely should be punished. But you could see afterwards, Josh Taylor is the kind of lad it was water off a duck's back. As he said, he said he never took it seriously, didn't take it personally. He understands, because Josh can give it.
Josh is fiery, and I think Josh sometimes he'll fight in emotions and stuff like that.
Well, he's an angry fight week fighter, isn't he?
At the weigh-in, he was ready to go there, and then you believed you know, every bit of it as well.
But also with Josh as well, fair play to him, not a single excuse.
No,
and
not an excuse.
You know, he could have brought anything into it, couldn't he?
And listen, again, I think there's a crazy stat that's going round about his last 5-6 opponents. And listen, people like you with the catch-all result, blah, blah. But he has took on the very best for a good few years now. And he's never shied away from a challenge for more than a few years. We're going back before the WSB. It was moved very fast, let's not forget. It was moved very fast at the time. It was by McGuinness, wasn't it? And he's been one of the best British pound-for-pound fighters in recent times, without a doubt. And I believe he can come back. And listen, when we're going on about weight, he looked so much better this time. And I know he's got a brilliant team behind him, not just training team, but Carl, who does his weight and his nutrition, and he looks so much better. But sooner or later, that does take its toll. And I think in interviews, without making excuses, because he's not done a single one, he said he could, listen, I can make 140 again, but I think the writing's on the wall for him to move up to 147.
Yeah, but praise then for the team, Joe McNally, Declan O'Rourke.
Always, you know, they're
Terry McCormack in the corner as well. And Russ Amber, your old mate, was doing the
Russ,
cuts, wasn't he?
Russ can do it all. He's a cutsman.
The
best Russ Amber, I think anyone who's had their hands wrapped by him, and I don't know if anyone's saying different, for me, he is, I've been lucky enough to have my hands wrapped by some unbelievable.
He didn't do you, though, when you fought Lomachenko, did he? He blew you out for Lomachenko, didn't he?
And, I'll let him know that as well. But I don't know, I wound him up a little bit as well. But, unbelievable. Yeah, probably the best hand wrappers I've ever come across. That's why and I know, like, me and I know Liam Smith, Callum, I think everyone who's had Russ will say the same about him. But no, he's a good guy. But no, that's an unbelievable team. And listen, you look at the success Joe and Deck have had recently.
You've got a great stable going there.
Yeah, they've got an unbelievable stable, fighters coming through, the recent results. But they've got and it's great to see that, because I can never sing the Rotunda's praise highly enough, you know, right from the amateurs right through. But for them to have a pro side now doing the things that they're doing, it's there's not many places that deserve it more, in my opinion.
No, so Josh Taylor will probably move up, you think? Teofimo, now he's got the world at his feet kind of thing. And Jack Cattrall, who was congratulating Teo as well.
There's no love lost there, is there, between Jack
with
Cattrall
himself.
And listen, and I get that as well. Do you know what I mean? Jack's a belting lad.
Yeah.
I think he was allowed to have his dig. I think the way he felt, he was hard done by and not getting the rematch.
And again, Josh won't take it personally anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
We nearly come to blows in Manchester a bit back then.
Yeah. Well, moving on, because that's New York, but obviously in London, Wembley Arena, there was a big card. Obviously, you weren't at Fight Week for once. I was at Fight Week because you were sunning yourself on your holes.
I was,
you did everything you could to avoid FA Cup final defeat and City winning the Champions League, so you went away for a few days.
Yeah,
but Sonny Edwards was Sonny Edwards. The build-up was very sunny. He had lots to say. Andres Campos, Eddie Hearn was getting annoyed with him in the build-up because he wouldn't sell the fight at all. He said, this fella's not fit to lace me boots, shouldn't be in the ring with me. It's going to be easy, blah, 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 blah. So overall, he got the job done. UD, arm raised. Was it eye-catching enough from your point of view?
Right. Do you know, first of all, I'll say Campos was better and had more success than I thought he would do. But what I will say as well is that was probably because Sonny Edwards allowed it. I think probably Sonny, he showed a different side to his game. Like, where first thing, Sonny Edwards is unbelievably skilled. And I've been with you, and I think when we're about people on social media, Sonny's very Marmite, but I've spent time in Sonny's company a lot of the time, and one thing I'll say is, and I think actually he worked recently on a Matchroom show as a commentator.
Yeah, he did,
and he went down a storm. He was brilliant, and I knew that he would do. And I've always said to people, I've had this conversation with you. He how he reads the fight, he's brilliant. He's got such a great boxing brain, which you can imagine how you see him in there. But not just that as well. Like, I've been in. We remember when we was in Steel City when Grant was away. It was the week of.
He was training everyone basically, wasn't he?
He was training everyone, and just the effort he puts into everyone. Him and Grant have got a really close relationship, and how they work is brilliant. And I think it's one of them on Saturday night. He probably chose to hold his feet a little bit more. I was with Levi, who trained Levi Quintana. He's very close with Sonny.
Yeah.
And I think And I said it to him straight away. You could see Sonny was just half having fun, sitting on the ropes a little bit longer. And listen, the fight that they're talking about is Bam Rodriguez now.
Yeah.
Listen, watching that, I think, Sonny, there's no way on this earth you can do that. But I think he knows that. I think when Sonny's on his bike, he's moving, using his feet, switching. He's got a chance with the elite in the sport, because I think he's an elite fighter. I think he's so talented. But even on Saturday night, I remember at one point, I think it was after round 9, and I think it was Campos had a decent round. It was thereabouts. And him and Grant, they're talking, he says, would you say that's 6-3 now? And he thought, no, he's pulling back a little bit here now. So I'm going to get back moving. And he was comfortable. He was comfortable. Yeah. I really think he just had a bit of fun. But Sonny Edwards' style, it won't be for everyone. But from a boxing purist,
he's not a knockout merchant.
So
he's never going to be like that,
listen,
is he? He's not going to be
like
that kind of fighter.
Sometimes, and he jokes himself on social media. Sonny Edwards' unanimous decision is almost buying money.
Yeah.
It really is, no matter who. But he's got an unbelievable skill set. He had a good platform Saturday, and listen, it's good to see him back in the ring, and I hope he gets those fights that I feel he deserves. Yeah,
well, we've got a few more to rattle through, but moving on to the co-main. In fact, Johnny Fisher was on late, wasn't he? In terms of the fight card. I mean, obviously there was nothing on the line or anything. He was stepping up in terms of rounds or whatever, but he got the job done. Done early, and I think I could have taken some of them shots.
Yeah, there was a reason why Johnny Fisher is on late in the card. And listen, he's doing well. Yeah. He sells tons of tickets. Yeah. He's a promoter's dream, and I think he probably knows that. And I think he's almost a brand, like with his dad, with the boss shouts and stuff like that. And listen, did he learn anything from that fight? Absolutely not. And it was a bit.
Salas went down.
He went down a little bit too easy. It looked like, listen, he wasn't taking those blows, but you never want to throw shade on an opponent. It's a big person getting in, but it was disappointing, and through no fault of Johnny Fisher's, by the way, but you've got to keep him late because he does bring the soldiers. Is it?
He's incredible for tickets, but But he needs to move on, doesn't he? Roundage, and he needs to get in that mix because it's a brilliant domestic scene, isn't it?
It's a brilliant domestic scene, but also from he's got a good team behind him, Mark Tibbs, so on. But it's hard, right? Because, and this is what some people won't understand, and some people might disagree with what I'm saying. Johnny's a promoter's dream. He's an unbelievable ticket seller. You want to keep building that. Yeah. You don't want to put him in too soon with a fight he's not ready for, because once somebody who's an unbelievable ticket seller suffers a defeat, that army, it gets cut in half. It really does. So you've got to match him steadily, but without a doubt, it needs to be tougher than Saturday, because that could also work the same thing.
Exactly.
And listen, I'm sure they expected more of Salas. Let's be honest. I don't believe for 1 minute the matchmaker made that fight and thought, Johnny's going to go in there, not really land much too clean, and Salas is going to sit down, and then they're going to share a chicken ball and bosh after it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that can rub people up the wrong way, but that's through no fault.
No, it's not. He's doing everything he can do at the moment, Johnny Fisher, absolutely. But again, the world title on the card as well was Janika Johnson against Ellie Scotney. And Ellie Scotney, her day finally did come. She's been boxing a long, long time, hasn't she? She's a very talented fighter. She's a proper boxer. And Johnson, I think, it's fair to say she got a bit of attention at the weigh-in. I mean, that was something, wasn't it?
It was, and listen, fair play to her. She went out there and she hit the bag, didn't she? It was painted on. I don't know who painted it on, but she painted on like a...
I think Ebony Bridges was there. She's probably thinking, I didn't think anyone could pull a stunt more outrageous than me.
It was body paint, wasn't it? With the OnlyFans, which we see a little bit more now. And, I think that was... a lot of that turned a lot of heads at the weigh-in, but then I think you've got two very different there. So obviously, Sheik Johnson, she's doing that, and in Ellie, you've got, I think, a very good sort of church-going girl who's like, straight after the fight, she took it to her nana, who's the biggest fan. Listen, it was a real feel-good story, because that's someone who, obviously, there was the controversy of her not being over in Dublin, Ireland on a Katie Taylor card. But she's a real student of the game, real student of the game. It's not that she's very, very good. I've been an Ellie Scotney fan for a long time now, and I thought she was fantastic Saturday night.
When she's a world champion now, she's already got a free milkshake. She said So
yes,
she's starting to reap the rewards already.
She is, and not just that. And I think I'll be honest, when I seen the weigh-in, I thought she looked tight at the weight, Ellie, and I was a little bit worried, but she certainly didn't fight like that. But she's got a great boxing IQ, and she's a real. I've heard like she does not. So I remember speaking to McGuinness at fight week for a Coley Billum Smith.
Yeah,
it's like she does not switch off. She does not switch off one little bit, and it's nice to see her get those rewards. You can see what it meant to her after the fight.
Yep. Chef Clark did the business, didn't he, against David Jameson?
Yeah, big David Jameson. He it was always going to be a tough night for him. I think as we both know, he's a great guy.
He's a great fella,
but he really is. But Chef Clark, for me, he looked unbelievable, and I'm a massive Chef Clark fan. I really do, and I know now he's there. Well, that was an eliminator, wasn't it? So he is now in line to fight Lawal. I know him and Chamberlain might.
It's a nice, lively situation.
I am right in saying Eddie Hearn thinks he beats Chris Billum Smith now, whether that's for...
Well, of course, it is.
But listen, no, Chef Clark, I think he's a massive talent, and I believe he sort of went under the radar, you know, in the Olympians that turned over.
Yeah, but I think obviously because of his GB, it didn't happen for him at the games as such, but his GB pedigree, his World Series of Boxing pedigree, which means that he's been fighting the top guys for a long time, and you can see it now. Good. You can see it now. He doesn't need to.
He just looks so at home in there, and I think because he got a tough draw in the Olympics, didn't he? But he, for me, he might end up being, you know, one of the very picks out of it, and it's nice because there's not been the pressure what some have had from those Olympics, but he's looking very good.
Honourable mentions, of course, for Nina Hughes. She defended against Katie Healy, who came in late, and Katie did really well.
Katie as well, she did. Yeah, she had success. She had a lot of success, and she come in late notice. And I remember it was at one of the...
We saw the first two fights of her career. Now, the first one was in the Sheffield, the car park. It would have been around May 21.
Yes.
When, obviously, Fight Zone put these fights on. Yeah, exactly. She was a kickboxer. She's come on really well. And Gav Burrows, the trainer.
Yes, Gav's done a great job.
He was obviously... Rachel Ball was the star of that gym, wasn't she? Now, Katie's come in and she's taken an opportunity. And I mean, it's a brilliant story from watching her debut and doing what she did.
Such a short space of time, and I know she had a good win out in South Africa before that, but like fair play to her. And I believe there's so much improvement in Katie Healy. But I think when you're talking about stories, and I don't think she's too keen on mentioning it all the time, but Nina Hughes' story is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. And walking in with a lad as well.
She works part-time. She walks in one of her lads. She's a mother, working mum, world champion, and she just wants unifications. I know after the fight, she was very clear on who she wants next, and that was Miss Ebony Bridges. And you expect to see that fight later in the year, whether Ebony's going to fight in between or not, I'm not sure. But she shocked a lot of people when she won the world title against Jamie Mitchell, who obviously beat Shan Courtney. She looks powerful in there, Nina. She looks very powerful, and I think that was the difference in the fight. You know, Katie had success, but Nina always used to, again, the eye-catching stuff from Nina. And she looks heavy-handed, especially with that right hand.
Yep, well, all the good wins as well on the night. It was a good fight. Reece Bellotti coming out on top, which was a good fight there as well. Also, Shannon Ryan, George Liddard, and Muhammad Ali all had their arms raised as well. So it was a good, busy card, obviously, at the Wembley Arena. But on the Friday night, we're working backwards in chronological order here because we're going back to Friday night now. And obviously, at York Hall, David Adeleye was in action, and he got the business, or did the business, against Emir Ahmatovic from Germany. And eased into it a bit, then took him out. Yeah,
there wasn't too much to take from that. Again, I think really all we can say now is the fight we want to see. The fight he certainly wants. Big Fab Wardley, Fabio. And I remember myself and you, we was at which was it?
The pub.
Joshua, the what? the Joshua, which press conference was it? And Franklin.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Franklin, yeah. And he was in there. He was
sort of gate crashed it, didn't he? And he was like, no, he went gate crashed it, and I stuck it on Fab, and Fab was like, yep, let's go. And I think now because of the situation which was well documented recently between Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley not taking place.
Yes,
I think I'm right in saying David Adeleye is going to be. It seems pretty obvious he's now going to be made the mandatory, isn't he? And I'm pretty certain no one will be getting pulled out on that side of things. So that's going to work. But Adeleye, I think, you know, one thing I'd say about Adeleye, I think he won that night against Sokolowska.
Yeah.
It was almost a blip, and a lot of people thought it could have been, but his improvement has been very big, and he's been very excited. I remember working his fight before last, and he carries that one-punch power that a lot of heavyweights do carry. And I think him and Fabio is a real fascinating fight. I think that it's a fight where the build-up could be nice and tasty as well. And listen, it's the British heavyweight title, so I think it's going to be one of them that's going to be good, but you can't help but catch fire.
Yep. Well, in your old division lightweight, Mark Chamberlain made very easy work of Marvin Demolari, didn't he, as well? And,
Yeah,
but,
certainly punched that boy.
He can. He's definitely one to keep an eye on. But also on Friday night as well, we were at the same show. Before we get to that, in Liverpool at the Olympia, Derry Matthews had a European champion in the shape of Conor Butler against Matt Windle, who is a great lad, Matt, as well, isn't he? And he's not a flyweight; he's a light flyweight.
He himself up. To flyweight.
Yeah.
Connor, I've knew Connor for years.
He looks about 7.
Yeah, he does. Connor top dog Butler. And listen, congratulates as well to Derry Matthews and Mick General. I know he said he tried for the European title a few times to fight. So to get one as a coach, hats off to him and Mick General, the coaching team there.
Yeah.
But Conor Butler, European champion, Commonwealth champion, and now I'm hearing they're going to try and make for all 3 of the belts. Jay Harris, I think I'm right in saying that, aren't I? Another fight on that bill, Marcel Braithwaite. He becomes Commonwealth champion, defeats him, Ryan Farag. Super talented Marcel. He actually put down, I know he lost on points well, but he put over unbelievably talented Sonny Edwards, who boxed the night after. But yeah, a real weekend of action.
Well, which brings us to you with your coach's hat on.
Yes.
Obviously, you were in the corner for Bobby Faulkner on Friday Night Bowlers, which was a vicious promotions. Kieran and Joe Gallagher, your old trainer, he had a few fights on as well. It was good, and Bobby looked great. And then what was, I suppose, the standout point of that show? It's not fair in the fight, so it's a standout night for all of them. But obviously, Charlie Edwards coming back on a small hole when his brother's topping the bill.
Yeah,
but he did it. He was such a pro, wasn't he? Got the job done against a dangerous guy as well.
And the most important thing was, listen, there's no denying Charlie belongs on the big shows. But I know Joe's, Charlie, we just need to get out because now a lot of belts are becoming vacant in that division down to a newer moving up, so belts going to become vacant, and Charlie's right near the front of the queue in line for one of those belts, but because of his time out the ring, it's just so important. Get back in the rankings. So now we're back in the rankings, get him out again, and he's right near the front of the queue for like a final eliminator for him to get a shot at one of those titles. And listen, he come back. It wasn't a gimme, the fight he come out with, as we seen in the fight. I think first round landed a really big shot, but then when Charlie got in his rhythm against Darwin Martinez,
it was big.
To look
he was very big as well.
He looked huge in there, didn't he?
Yeah.
He started to look very good, and it's so good to see Charlie back. One of the most professional fighters in the sort of how he looks after himself, routine. I've come across.
Yeah. And probably the highlight for the Edwards boys of the weekend was them both having a cuddle ringside and both talking so nicely about it. Because, there has been a lot of kind of fairly unpleasant social media stuff, but they kind of made out at the weekend it was all a bit of a laugh. So hopefully it is.
Yeah, Charlie and Sonny, proper brotherly love, isn't it? But no, listen, all that aside, like Charlie box there, Sonny's watching it. His messaging. So, a bit is, but the brothers and they've got a lot of love for each other. And I think it was nice to see that. It was nice to see that. Some strange reason, some people love the drama between them both on social media. And then, Charlie was backstage with his brother on his big night and stuff. So, no, it was good to see.
Well, there we go. That's the breakdown. That's all the fights forensically looked into by yourself there, Anthony $1 Million Crolla. And next we're going to have our special guest. So, our special guest on the Boxing Review Show. What about that?
Bring him in.
So here he is, Anthony $1 Million Crolla. The reason for this, though, Ant, in all seriousness, if you think about it, you've been retired since November 2019. It wasn't your best performance, your final one, but you were in that situation where you could actually say, "That's me. I'm done. I know it. I'm out of here." And you've never had a day since where you thought, "I'm itchy. I want to come back."
Not once, Tom. Honestly, I have days when I think I should get some kind of routine with the bag, but I think because I've gone into the coaching straight away, and because thankfully I'm still involved sort of on the media side of things, I still get those buzz for the big fight weeks, and
you don't want to get punched in the head anymore.
Yeah, I don't get punched in the head. I don't have to be as dedicated no more.
Really?
Which is
not
probably
noticed.
a good thing.
Yeah,
which is probably a good thing working alongside you. The amount of times we get the finish and we go to one place is it's probably a good job. But no, do you know what? I genuinely don't. Sometimes I say I feel guilty, but I'm happy on that side of things.
So just to be clear, because it's Fox ABC where you grew up as an amateur. Excuse me. That's where you still coach amateurs.
Yep.
It's a very, very busy gym, Limeside Estate.
Yep.
Just on the edge of Oldham.
It is on the edge of the beautiful.
So it's kind of the club has moved a few times because you've had a few fires and a few bits of drama and all that.
It's been well
but you are now at Avro FC, and it's a great little setup there, brilliant. But you train the pros there, so you've got a great stable as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got an handful of fighters. So I never wanted to train professional boxers straight away. I think the plan was to always sort of assist Joe.
Joe Gallagher, who obviously you still do a bit with Joe, don't you, in Bolton?
Still do little bits with over at Champs Camp now.
Oh, of course.
Side, it was
I'm
Bolton
forgetting. I've been there.
While,
I've seen him now at his spiritual home. I've completely forgot.
Such a while, but and then next thing ended up helping one fighter. Turns into, and then I've ended up with 6 or 7 fighters.
So you got Bobby that was in action on Friday night. You've got Jake James, James Moorcroft, Rhiannon Dixon, who's now she's got a title, hasn't she? She's Commonwealth champ.
Commonwealth champ. She's going for the European title in September.
Who am I missing? Sahir,
Levi,
Kinciona,
and my brother William.
And William Crolla, the new debutant. That's just of course.
Out there,
and just interesting. Just go back to that briefly because obviously the Teofimo Lopez Josh Taylor fight. Steve Gray, 115, 113. Steve Gray that you verbally abused when William Crolla made his debut at the Manchester Arena. You and William both giving it the nice referee that is Steve Gray.
Yeah.
Disgusting behaviour.
I'm ashamed of myself. No,
you're like Mourinho. You're like Mourinho with Anthony Taylor in the car park. It was definitely what you were like.
One thing I'll say, I've got massive respect for Steve Gray. And I actually seen him the next morning at breakfast and I went over and I was a little bit like... apologies.
And this was because you didn't feel that Will was knocked down genuinely. He hit the canvas, didn't he?
He hit the canvas, it was a forearm, it was like, and listen, and Steve explained why, and I said, listen, I get why. Listen, we don't have to agree. And we shook hands, and I've got a load of respect for Steve. And do you know what? I was buzzing to see him, and I know it just will title fights anyway, but I was dead happy to see him ringside anyway, because he deserves to be at them. But I'd listen genuinely. People
and his scorecard, let's be clear, was bang on.
I know he's okay, but I think, we'll probably joke about it in the future, but that was cleared up the next morning and stuff like that. Breakfast, and I was glad, really.
That's the other side to nice guy Crolla, really, that people don't know about. So I think it's important.
But people said, like, she's your brother. But it was a lesson learned for me. But no, I believe it would have been any of my fighters I probably would have acted, but did I react a little bit strong? Yeah, I did. Lesson learned.
Yeah, but Will did well, and so we look forward to Will getting out again. Possibly September, he was telling me.
Yes.
We'll wait and see on that one. So you got the amateurs, the pros, and you like a bit of media work as well. So you're still flying around. You're still at the fight weeks. They've got nothing to do with your fighters a lot of the time, but you obviously double up as well. You've got fighters on Matchroom shows and wherever.
Yes, fighters on all different shows, on all different platforms. I do a bit with the schools in the area.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids who are at risk of exclusion and stuff like that.
You're still a model for twin sets and stuff like that.
Still doing little bits of modelling for twin sets. I'm love a twin set, as you know. I'm not out of that. I'm trying to think what else do I do. I'm busy.
Guinness.
Busy. What's that?
Guinness.
I like Guinness. Yeah.
Ambassador for Guinness.
Like Guinness. I don't. They've still not called, but I'm a Guinness connoisseur.
You are.
Guinness connoisseur, coffee connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
And if anyone hasn't seen you recently as well, which I doubt it, anyone that's interested in boxing, but you have adopted the Croatian centre half look, haven't you?
Yep, that's it. Obviously, midlife crisis, the hairs, like that's took a long time to grow. Yeah, and it's been a bit, hit and miss, but here we are. I'm running.
It's working for you. It's working for you.
It means a lot, though.
Well, obviously, we're going to be hearing from you every single week, but I think that just kind of recaps what you're up to at the minute after your distinguished career. Let's face it as well. Let's not forget you won the world title. You beat Darlis Perez back in 2015. You defended against him, didn't you? Was it? It was 15, wasn't it? You You defended with
Barossa.
No, sorry, you drew. Then you beat Perez.
You defended it.
Barossa, and then
fought Mr. Jorge Linares.
Yeah, your old mate Jorge, who and that was that. And then you came back. You went for Lomachenko. Didn't quite work in LA, but what an experience that was. And so your career, again, just a quick. That's probably why you don't miss a day of it, because you absolutely nailed it. Really, let's face it.
So I knew
you got beat by Yusuf Al Hamidi, and you came back and won a world title.
I was actually saying, there you go. There you go. I got beat by part-time ice cream man, and then I ended up winning a world title.
Yeah, and 5 Manchester derbies. This is the last time I'm bigging you up, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And but I knew the moment I was in, and I never should have had another fight, really, to be honest. But anyway, the moment I was in LA, I went for a coffee the morning after, and I was with Jojo Gargan, and I was like, that's me now. I can't, because I was realistic where Lomachenko was around, and at that time I was like, I'm not going to win a world title now. Do I hang around to try and get a few decent paydays? I come in the sport for what I wanted, and I just thought no, and that was it. So I probably knew the morning after my fight I wasn't going to.
But you had a farewell at the arena, which made sense.
I did. Yeah, I did, and it certainly wasn't my best night. But you know what? By the way, I was really happy for him. He won the European Union title that weekend.
Well, you robbed him that night, so I mean, at least he deserved that, didn't he?
The thing, the very least he deserved for really getting robbed off me. But I was really happy for him. Messaged him, and he was actually saying, "Listen, if I'd love to come over sparring sometime. I hope he didn't mean with me." I don't think he did. But yeah, with the fighters and that. So yeah, no, there's certain thing in boxing. There's a good few fighters I stay in touch with. You share the ring with. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. The amazing thing, really, you've never had any beef with anybody, which is quite astonishing. Considering the Manchester derbies, particularly the Scouts derbies, the Derry Matthews stuff, the John Watson and all that, and you managed to keep no needle in any of that. It's weird.
I know. I don't know.
Your Will's not going to do that. He's going to kick off with everyone.
Absolutely not. I think you know him pretty well, but that just wasn't me. And yeah, that wasn't me. So it was. But no, it's a career I can look back. I'm happy with, and that's probably why I don't miss it. But I think the huge part of me not missing it is because I'm still heavily involved with the sport at all levels, really.
Right, enough about you, enough talking about you now.
Stop talking.
What we're going to do now then, and after we've wrapped up this little guest bit, next we're going to give you a little bit of a ranking task. So here we go. Over the weekend then, this is all quick fire, because, we don't want to be going on forever here now. Quick fire. So the best build-up and the best venue you saw over the weekend. If you highlight the three main cards that we've spoken about.
Right, out of those three. Yeah. So out of the three, so the card over in New York.
Yep.
You've got at Wembley and the card at York or Bethnal Green. Okay.
So the venue first. I mean, what grabs you? I mean, the obvious one, I suppose, but maybe not.
No, right. So what you say is obvious. I'm thinking by obvious, you think Madison Square Garden. And when I was, some Ricky Hatton nights aside, the best atmosphere I've ever been in is that Madison Square Garden for Cotto Margarito 2. That was unbelievable. Yeah. Like, it actually felt like the place was moving. And when you're out rivalries, the Puerto Rican and Mexican rivalry, the Mexican, the Margarito, you've got to remember there was the controversy of the raps. Yep. So the sound that was made by the Puerto Ricans when he appeared on the screen, and it was also one of the best performances of Cotto's career. Yep. So that was that. But obviously this was in the theatre, at the Hulu Theatre. Josh, but do you know when I say of venues, honestly, I say it to for every boxing fan out there, British boxing fan who's not been, who's fought it, I can only suggest it. And please go when it's on paper a good 50-50 fight.
Altrincham Ice Rink.
York or Bethnal Green.
Right.
Not wrong with the ice rink, by the way.
No, it's good.
York
it's
or
good,
Bethnal Green is it's one of my favourite venues in the world. I mean that.
Right, so even though it was MSG, you're going to give the tick to York Hall now. So who had the promotion of the weekend? Because obviously there was a Matchroom one, there was Top Rank, there was Queensbury.
Yeah, I think, listen, the promotion of the weekend, I think you've got to say goes with Top Rank. I think everything, the whole build up, I think Top Rank.
That's Zayas, by the way, on the co-main. He's a talent, Xander Zayas.
Wow, yeah. It looked very, very well.
Talking to Puerto Rican fighters coming through.
Yeah, and like you say, so that's what, when you're about atmosphere, without doubt, I think, listen, when you have the Latino support that Lopez had, and the Scottish, he took a right little crowd over.
He did, yeah.
You name me some more passionate fans than them.
Brings us on to, right, so you're going to give it Top Rank. Now, in terms of the best atmosphere then, because Josh obviously had some bagpipes involved, and then you had, on the Sonny Edwards card, I think, again, Johnson stole the day with the haka.
She did. The haka was brilliant.
So talking atmosphere, you can build that into ring walks if you like. So who's stolen that one? I think,
listen, the haka always goes down well, doesn't it? Right. The haka always goes down well. But again, like the bagpipes, Lopez coming out to bigger. You know, there was some brilliant ones. And for the younger crowd, like say, I think JK wrapped his mate Sonny Edwards out. It's a tough one, that, but the haka.
Right, so Matchroom get that one. They win the day.
I've proper gone 1-1-1 there. That's a disgrace from me, actually.
Well, you're not finished yet. So in terms of, again, very, very quickly, as a trainer now, any of the tactics, any of the trainer that caught your eye over the weekend?
Do you know what? There's a few, and I can't really give one. I think, listen, a gym that's having unbelievable success at the minute. I've done not just at the minute for a while, is the McGuinness. And
even though so many high-profile fighters have gone, he's still doing really well, isn't
it?
It
Really is, and it's another world champion. Another world champion, and obviously no one fancies me Billy Smith. I thought Scottner.
Yeah.
I really do think she was brilliant. Do you know what I mentioned though as well?
Do you want
Dan from No Limits with Tom Farrell. Do you know what? And we're on about getting tactically things right, and I think.
So this was on the card.
Yeah.
At York Hall.
He fought Emery Turner, a very good fighter, and his fighter Tom Farrell. He was starting to take a little bit too much punishment, and he pulled it, and that was sometimes we get the. We hear the shout of brave cornerman, brave referee, and I thought it was the perfect call. And I know they're very close then, but it would have been. He spoke to someone. I don't think he quite got the answer he needed, and he called it. And I think a special shout out should go to him as well. Listen, I'm not talking tactically or all that, but I like seeing that. And yeah, listen, you could go through the card there. There's probably a few I could mention. What I say, you could say. Lopez was brilliant tactically, but I don't know if that was down to his mad dad or he's just that good.
So you're not giving his old man any credit anyway, are we? Clearly,
right. About it.
Who's the boxer of the weekend? Is it?
It's hard to look past Teofimo Lopez, isn't it? He's won his second Ring Magazine belt.
Yeah.
And that's a very elite club. Winning a Ring Magazine belt is one thing, but to do it at 2 different weights is, it's future Hall of Fame stuff, isn't it?
It is. Now, in terms of any other business, because you can't call it a proper fight, but there was a little bit of a scene, Floyd Mayweather in another exhibition, and it all went a bit mental.
Yeah.
Gotti the third, and
I
mean, what are you a fan of all that nonsense?
It's just I'll never understand it fully, Dom. Like, so Floyd Mayweather, unbelievable fighter, an all-time great, but I just can never get my head round why you would want to pay or watch him.
Do that.
Move around. He's an MMA fighter, wasn't he, Gotti? Was he?
No, he's had a couple of pro fights. He's 5-1 MMA, and he's part of his family, the Gotti family.
The Gotti family, yeah.
The Gambino family, I think it was, wasn't it?
So it wasn't Irv Gotti out of Murder Inc.?
No, I don't think so. No.
Wow,
no.
right, okay. So anyway, well, him. Yeah, so like that, I just think. I remember when he fought, I know disrespect, he fought your man who had the MMA fights who was in, what was it you used to watch? Geordie Shore, Aaron Chalmers. I remember he fought at the O2, and I just think, like, nothing against him. Jeez, I'd probably jump at the chance even though I don't do nothing.
You'd never want to come back ever unless you got the call from Floyd Mayweather to say, do you fancy an exhibition?
It'd probably be a bit disrespectful to say nobody, but I can't understand why I'll never get that. And then, so I think if you go to these events or you're around these events, it's a circus, so don't be surprised when the clowns come out to play and I'm seeing a bit of fighting and the stoppage. Did Kenny Bayless stop it? And
then it all went off.
It all went off, and it's just madness. Like I just don't get it. I just don't get why
you and some called last orders and you weren't happy. It was just a similar thing.
Yeah, but at least they had my point. Like I don't get what their thing is to watch Floyd Mayweather move around with.
Look, there's a lot going on. That's one for another day anyway.
There's a market for it somewhere.
Well, there's a market for a lot of stuff at the minute, isn't there?
Which a lot of people disagree with. Yeah, true.
So there we go. Right, Anthony. Anyway, so next week we're going to be looking at all the action over the weekend. I think probably stand out is Pro Grey Zorilla because there's so much interest maybe from a domestic point of view for us as well. So
there's absolutely no one calls out Regis Progress bar a man we know pretty well, Jack Patrol.
Yeah.
So he comes through that. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and do that later in the year to really avoid fighters in the division. And listen, you got to remember Progress. He had an unbelievably close fight with Josh Taylor, which could have gone either way in a lot of people's eyes. So Progress is very good. Yeah. Progress is a very, very good fighter. But yeah, that's the standout.
New Orleans as well.
New Orleans, where Manchester's Terry Flanagan.
He did, yes.
One of my good pals. He went over for it. I've never been, but New Orleans is one of the craziest places on the planet here. What's it called? Bourbon Street.
It's the French Quarter or whatever. It's Bourbon Street, and I've been there and all that. But apparently that's where you don't go. You know, it's like anywhere, isn't it?
Yeah,
you don't fall into those traps. There's loads of power. Apparently it's great, but anyway, we won't be there. So we can talk about that. But where are you going to be this week? Anything else?
This
What's
week
going on?
I'm going
all
to
sorts
be
of
with
stuff.
myself.
Got some community events on.
Yes, a few community events. Coaching.
Maverick Stars Trust and
over some of the at grassroots level around the country. We've got that. I've got. I'm saying like I've not got a really busy week. I've got the fights. I've got a fighter fight.
You mean you got your core business of training fighters maybe to think about, and the amateurs in the evenings.
School run every day, as you know, Dan.
And the coffee run.
School run, then coffee run.
Right. And the football's dead now as well, so you can forget about that. I think there's some international stuff that you're not bothered about anyway.
There's a parade which I need to get out of before that's
there we go. Right, that's all we need to know, so we can wrap it here. So that's the very first one, and no one's ever done anything like this before. So we've managed to get a boxing review show done, and we're going to do this every week. And there you go, guests a lot, and
hopefully it takes off. So whatever you click, like, links.
You do all that exactly. That's what you got to do. You got to do all that Anthony just said. This is the boxing review show on Boxing